Here we are.
Yes.
Hey, family and friends, thanks for watching. We're back at Mom Proof, our family of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So that's what we keep talking about. And staying bothered has been a fun subject to switch over to. Hope that we're sharing some good nuggets with folks.
I think it's very, very enlightening to hang out with y'all when we have our like staying bothered gear on too.
No, I do. Come on.
know.
Shamelessly,
I do
I
love
ordered
it,
too many
though.
T-shirts. I have a lot. But the gist of it is what we want to talk about.
It
We're
is.
staying bothered about things, but we're not bitching about it. We're actually trying to make positive change in the world by being bothered. So I think sharing how we do that is important.
And it's a conversation starter.
It
When I
definitely is.
worn
When you wear the
mine,
shirt, you have to be
You were like,
prepared
oh,
to talk.
what does that say?
That's
really?
right. Yes. I think when I first wore it, I don't remember when you came out. Do you remember what year? What's your year that you launched that?
That was 18.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world then, you know?
It was election year.
It was
And maybe it was just after that or just
I
before.
feel like there was stuff in the news. There was a lot of just, things that were bothering people that were just racism and ethics and there's politics. It was so heavy. But I remember wearing that shirt and feeling empowered because I wanted someone to challenge.
ask you?
Yes. And make sure that it wasn't like I'm bothered about anything that was going to put anybody else down. It was really about something that was going to come good from it. And I was ready with that.
You know what? I like that because life really should be about building each other up when we can. I mean, we're always telling the girls, go straighten somebody else's crown. Tell
I
them,
love that.
compliment, do good, be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a thought.
Oh, God.
What if when you're upset with your husband or your kids, you wear the shirt?
And just like
And you
leave,
just wait for them to ask.
Waiting for them to ask.
and they ignore you as usual. Well, I mean, seriously though, think about something that invigorates you because I really believe in that concept, Jamie. And I asked you, and on the way over here, right, we were like, how can we unpack this so that it makes it more relevant to people, but also understandable so that you can do something about it? And I said this, it's so cliche, but actions speak louder than words because you can say it all day long, but show me that you care about something. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Right.
Well, and maybe this is something we continue to talk about with our kids as we talk about teenagers and launching is what are some things that we can remind them to do so that they continue to do good in the world and they don't just look in the mirror every day and that's not what the world should be about, right?
Yep.
What can you do to help others? We talked a lot about dinner conversations and how important that is to really just get together and have those family discussions kind of organically, right?
More so.
But during those discussions, what are things that we can help other parents to remind their kids of about giving back to the world we live in? It's really important. Volunteerism.
And you guys always
Service.
say, that what we are mimicking what we want our kids to do, but maybe like going deeper into why you started doing what you do and how do people continue to stay motivated? Because one of the things I find is I may have really good intentions, but then the first time somebody tells me no or a door shuts, then I kind of shut down and then I start questioning like, how am I going to continue or how do you keep yourself motivated? Because you've done such an amazing job with caring for Cambodia. It couldn't have been an easy task and you've seen it through and you've succeeded with it. So kind of tell us about how that.
Yes, please.
There's
process looks.
so much self-talk that has gone into my years and my career of just saying you are good enough to succeed. It's okay to hear no. Keep doing what you're doing, not giving up. And sometimes in the lowest of the lows, I would remind myself about one little girl or one little boy or write their name up somewhere. But it does take an effort. It's easy to just change gears. And I think that's a lot of what staying bothered is about. It's how to stay that, because it's easy to get bothered, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're very easily bothered by
Agitation.
the homeless guy on the way here.
on the way here.
It kills you to see that.
Don't
So
like
do you want
it.
to do something about it? How do you start that? You commit, first of all. Is that your passion or do you have 20 passions? And it's
How do
okay
you
to
narrow
have
that
20.
down? Yeah, but how do you think to fully embrace a passion that you how do you own it like that? So how do you go from 20 to 1? Or do you have to go from 20 to 1
No,
to make
you don't.
it work?
But I think to make the most impact in the world, you do one thing at a time.
That's true.
I mean,
Yes.
to make world change is huge. But how about if just today we actually maybe stop and give the guy a burger on the way home?
Yeah.
I mean, little acts of kindness make the world a better place.
Well, take us to
Does that fix the problem?
No.
No.
But take us to that, take us through. So you're like, you've written a book on Stay and Bother too. So if you were going to say there's a manual, and people can buy this book obviously on Amazon or jamieemilio.com, but what is that first thing? You circled people up. I remember you made an announcement, a proclamation, and you announced it in front of people. And I think that's a big deal, right?
You say it out loud in front of people and yourself. And you do small steps to get to the bigger things. You put it on your calendar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to look up what homelessness means in Austin. What's really the gravity of the situation? Yeah. And I use this just as an example.
Exactly.
I mean, I started to do it with mental health for a while, and I leaned on people who knew what they were talking about.
Yes.
And education. It's one step at a time. And then sometimes you can't just start your own organization.
Right.
Go figure out who's doing something and doing it really well, and then benchmark, steal ideas.
Yep.
I mean, that's a nice way to say that idea works.
Collaborate.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Collaboration, right?
Stop. Collaborate.
I know. In my head, I was like, stop.
But I do have people ask me that all the time.
Yeah.
I went and say, can you help me to start an organization? And my advice to them would be to go look at other organizations that you want to look like. Make a commitment to do something with them or someone
what
close
you did?
to them.
You knew that educational system had been destroyed by the genocide over there. Did you have any other organization to lean into to do Caring for Cambodia, though?
I did look at what other organizations did. I surrounded myself with people who knew what they were talking about with education.
Cool.
And I kept going with it because I had my friends that had committed to help.
Yep.
And it was just set in motion. And I think once you get that in your mind that you're going to do something to really make a difference. I mean, look, I was a crazy white woman going back and forth to Cambodia. But I could because it was so close. But what if you don't have Cambodia next door?
Right.
So you do little things that really make a difference. You find what's going on in your own community, in your own hometown. And these things can be overwhelming. So I think it's important to talk to our kids about that. Just do little things. As school starts,
oh, yeah.
Talk to the person nobody talks to in the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what they're going through. And I guess that goes back to the mental health
that does.
component.
I can go into that big time, which I will at some point. But I really am enjoying learning about, the unpacking of staying in something. I mean, do you feel like you've had an experience, Sandra, where I feel like you have. I haven't known you as long as Jamie or, other people. But, have you had that experience where you were like, this is my thing?
Yeah, definitely. I always wanted to, why I wrote my book, I wanted to write the book to tell young people. And I think at that time,
tell us
my daughter
again.
had just keep moving. But when Sophia was just, beginning high school, and I was starting to see the struggles that kids go through. And it just kind of took me back, I think. And that's why I was like, I want to write a book. I want to, just kind of encourage kids to, that it seems like everything's so impossible, but if you just keep moving and, time passes and you make little changes. So it's like the little changes add up to big changes, right?
Kind of like.
Yeah. And you can't do everything at the same time. And when things seem impossible, that's where you get your strength, right? And so I wanted to really just document that, and which is why I wrote the book. But so many times I wanted to give up. I wanted to stop. I didn't want to keep doing it because it was like, self-doubt starts to set in, and you're like, well, nobody's going to want it. Nobody's going to read it. And, at the end of the day, I think what I got out of the whole thing was like, it was very therapeutical for me to write it. Yeah. But then second of all, I was like, I wrote it for more so for myself than for everybody else, right? So if I want to help other people and I hope that they read it, and that I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with the fact that I wasn't writing it to be some famous author. In other words,
Right.
I wrote
What was
it,
the end goal? And it was not about.
And I think I achieved what I wanted out of it, and
so you're bothered was it's like improving on.
I think my bother was
healing or something.
Well, healing, but my bother was that that people get celebrated like when they're a football player and they're the best football player, or that we're not celebrating the small things in our children's lives, and we're not, encouraging them. And it's so easy to give up. If a parent sees like, well, I had one child that was really smart and did all these things, and then I have this other child that's just unmotivated, seems really sad, and I just don't know what to do with them. I saw a lot of that, and it was like, well, what can you do to help that kid? Because there's got to be a reason.
Every kid counts,
Everybody,
right? Every
exactly.
single person matters.
Yeah. So that was just something that I really want to, do that. I want to talk to kids. I think it all starts with the motivation. Not all kids have parents that are there for them to motivate them, that have the strength, So what can they do? Because I didn't. My mother didn't know whether I was passing in school or not passing. She didn't know anything.
Hands off, just real detached.
Right, because she had her own stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so I kind of...
Well, how powerful for you, though, too, to get yourself in check. So by writing the book, there was a lot of healing for you.
Right.
You were able to just learn some things about yourself that could also help others. And then you're a better mom for it.
Right. And I think it helped me to look at things from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it was very healing. And so sometimes, you want to do stuff to help others, but you end up helping yourself. So.
Well, how did CFC help you? I mean,
my gosh.
I know.
Absolutely. I often wonder when I see, and I've seen thousands of volunteers walk the campuses of our schools in Cambodia. And I wonder who gets more out of it. Is it the volunteer or is it the very kids and teachers that they're helping? But there is something inside of us that makes us feel good about doing for others.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we really hone in on that enough. It's very brave to do something like write a book. It's no small feat. I think that should be celebrated. And I know now, today's world, we can do it a little easier than we could 10 or 15 years ago.
Right.
But sharing those moments of success with our kids, I almost didn't write it. And I remember meeting you before. You were going to write it.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it. And then all of a sudden, once you're in, you're in. But it's self-talk then, right?
Yeah,
I got this.
go.
I can do it. And I think we need to, those little things, remind our kids, you got this, you can do it, and you're going to feel good about yourself.
Right.
And then you go one step further to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve to be successful. I've worked hard.
Yeah.
I paid my dues. The pain's been real.
Yeah.
But celebrating the successes are so important.
So is that what you would say part of the bothered continuum? Like you're going to hit those parts where you're just like, am I even making a difference? Like the self-doubt and so forth.
Absolutely.
And so pushing through with the self-talk. I mean, obviously having people around you that believe in you and or will
Kathleen,
follow
I'm glad
your lead.
you're saying that.
Yeah.
Note to teenagers, surround yourself with people that build you up, not pull you down.
Right.
Surround yourself with people that are positive, not negative, and find the bad in everything, but find the good in everything. Reality makes its ugly face very clear.
Yes, it'll rear itself.
There are terrible things that happen in the world.
There are.
But how do we choose to deal with that? Right?
Well, what do they say? Look at your 5 friends around you that you spend the most time with, and that's
You're
who
the sum of those parts.
Those, that will
Are we?
define you. I think so.
Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said something really interesting, and it was like, celebrate the micro steps. So, in other words, don't just celebrate when you finish something. Like this was kind of silly, but this lady was talking about she had an eating disorder, and so she would put herself down because she couldn't get over it. But then she said she started celebrating like when she would just open the refrigerator door. And so she started saying to herself, well, you did that. And then her next step was getting a spoon. And then the next step was actually opening a yogurt. And that was like, she said she would have never gotten to that next step if she wasn't celebrating which some people would say like, so what? She opened a refrigerator. But to her, that was a big accomplishment. And
That's
so I thought that
amazing.
was
That's
interesting.
knowing yourself.
Yeah.
That's important.
And that's good cognitive behavioral therapy right there too, because that whole process is about taking the old recordings and the negative
Changing them,
self-talk
yeah.
and changing and replacing them. And,
So how long does that take?
it
Is that
depends
it
on
is?
what you're
they
presenting.
say 30 days to change a habit. Is it
Yeah.
30 days straight? I don't
I mean,
know.
are you working with a therapist? Are you just writing your sticky notes? Are you listening to podcasts? I mean, it depends on the person, what their
Yeah.
presenting problem
Yeah.
is. But sure, I'm going to say as a therapist who sees people, if I can see you once a week for an hour, you're probably going to feel good in 2 months. There's going to be some point
Some
where you're,
change.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good
Because
to
you
know.
got to do some work on your own. Yeah,
Well, that's important to say too.
totally.
You got to work on yourself.
yeah.
You want to change.
You got to just go to the
Yeah.
gym and then not do anything at home? Yes, maybe. But no, but I mean, because think about it, you could be watching TV, you could do some planks, you could do some like, right?
Okay, I felt good when I got the stand-up desk. That was my first one. Oh, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah,
Stand up.
There you go. Are you clenching your glutes
Yeah, I'm
while
doing
you're in
the
there?
floor,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards. Yeah. You should,
Oh wait, sit on the stability ball while you're
Yeah.
at your desk. There you go. There's my takeaway for today. No.
making change. Positive change.
Positive change starts with the stability ball.
Well, I do think it's interesting how we always loop back around to the kids. If you have kids, they're watching. Even my adult kids are watching how I'm managing relationships.
Yeah,
and
well, you're in a new
people
relationship,
skills.
so they're totally going to check that out, right? Especially
Yeah,
'cause
I'm under
that's,
spotlight.
that's great, though. I think.
LML. Love my life.
What is? Oh, mine is
What
TIL.
was yours?
Tune into
Tune
life,
into
baby.
life.
Be
Yeah.
present. Stay there in the moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Sandra.
It was to just keep moving. Yeah.
That's
No, you had another one that was funny. What the heck?
Oh yeah.
Really?
What the
Oh,
heck?
yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be more positive.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, there you
I
go.
did
Good
feel a
one.
little bit of a little negative slant last session, and it's okay. It's okay. We're here for everybody.
It's reality. Yes. That's
It's
what we
funny
have to
because
check.
I always would play that in my head. I would say it in my head over and over.
Which part?
Would just keep moving. When I was like going through tough times, I would just say, just keep moving.
Aw.
And I
love it.
Then that movie came out with Dory. With the
Oh, yeah.
The
Finding
fish?
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. And what would she say when she was swimming? She would like repeat the same
Yeah,
thing
just
over.
keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep
She
swimming.
was
just
such
keep
a
swimming.
good role model of cognitive behavioral work.
Oh, look at her.
All those Disney movies have some underlying stuff. It's usually pretty powerful. And we're
Yeah.
not going to comment on other Disney commentary because I'm conflicted about Disney, but I love their movies.
But we're not going to comment
Yeah,
on
but
that.
I do love how there's usually something positive for kids or other people to take away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one Inside Out, the whole brain is talking emotional
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Inside Out was
Yeah.
really good.
That's good. No.
Tangent
don't
on the therapy stuff.
be. No, I don't
Well, I
think
think it's so
That's part of what we're
important 'cause,
doing.
Yeah, it's that's what we're constantly staying bothered about, right? It's
I think all of us are on that same page about the mental health piece,
Yeah.
like whether it's moving or focusing.
well,
or,
there's a lot going on right now with teens that are leaving or changing or like because they're at a point in their life at a crossroads, so to speak.
Yeah.
And some of them are celebrating going off to college, but then there's kids that just don't even know what to do. And I keep hearing about, suicides and stuff like that. And that makes me so sad because it's, you could see somebody today that's really happy and then tomorrow they've taken their lives and people had no idea. And I think it just takes 1 second of a doubt and then they do something. And I just feel
There's a lot
like
of
if that
impulsivity, I
kid can
think.
maybe remember like, oh, I heard something or there's a number, like I could dial this number, which we were talking about in the car.
Yes.
988.
988. And then just at that moment, it just takes something being in their head to know what to do at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, because the impulsivity is at the base of a lot of life taking. And we like to say, died by suicide. It's just such a hard comment to say someone, killed themselves. We really want to reframe how we talk about mental health. And I think committed suicide is definitely something we're like, dude, you think you commit like a felony. This is a different thing. When we're talking about mental health, this is someone's like life and they took their life by suicide. So that's something we can definitely pull apart because I love that part of teaching in the mental health world is how do we become more literate around this dialogue? Because people are interested. Sandra, you just said you Googled what parents are mostly worried about.
Yes.
And that was the top choice or the most.
Yeah, one of the
Mental
top
health.
things.
Mental health.
Mental health
Well,
was
that
number
actually
one.
that is part of why I wrote Staying Bothered.
It is, isn't it?
The core
man,
of
you were
it
on
is
fire.
mental health
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
suicide prevention, and I
Yeah.
wanted so much to make a difference in the world with that.
You have, though.
But
I
it's
mean,
interesting how that does cause you to look. I mean, I got to know myself through that and learning more about mental health. And one of the most important things as a parent that I learned to do is ask my kids straight on, are you thinking about suicide?
Boom.
Has that crossed your mind? And yes, the answer has been yes. All kids think about it. It's who's brave enough to say it and what parents and or therapists, teachers,
yes,
counselors,
trusted
coaches
friend. Yeah,
are brave enough to say, you know what?
that's the first thing we need to teach people.
Let's say
Ask.
it. Let's leave this,
quit
this
beating around the
session today
bush.
of really like parents, friends, say it out loud.
Yes.
Say it out loud.
Yes.
No harm, no foul.
There you go. I like it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have a question for today's wrap up?
Oh, yes, our question.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
So I guess my question would be if you wanted to change, if you could go and change a trait about yourself as you were maturing, what would you change or what would you maybe have accelerated? And how do you wish that because we have daughters, how do you wish your daughter would take it on and
That
at what
same
time?
situation,
Yeah, that
yeah.
same situation.
Yeah, like if I had something I know now, I wish I knew then
Yes,
or something in that
yeah.
effect. Okay.
Something we know now, we wish we knew that. Well,
Right.
you have to know your answer because you are the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me,
Guru.
it would be,
Good,
I
this
wish
gives
I
us time
would
to
have
think.
known growing up or as I was maturing that that I didn't have to be a martyr to not be selfish. So I was always kind of taught that, you do for others, not for yourself. And then I thought that meant basically, being a martyr. And I wish I
I do
would
anything for myself.
Right. Because if I
selfish.
did anything for myself, then I was being selfish.
Right.
Exactly. And then I hope for my daughter that she learns that, which I think she has been learning that, but I hope that when she gets to, as she's growing up, that she's confident enough in herself where she can also learn balance to, do for others, especially when we're talking about, staying bothered, but also take the time to take care of herself and do things for herself, and I think that's hard, learning the balance. So
I think we're doing a good job of modeling, but
Yeah.
that's a really good one. I don't know if I'm ready.
Okay.
Are you?
I'll take a stab at it.
Okay,
I
go
think
for it. Yeah.
What comes to mind
There's layers.
without thinking too much about it really is I wish I had been brave enough to speak my truth earlier on in my life.
I think we can all we've
Yes.
I felt like I spent so many years walking on eggshells to just be careful not to offend someone and I see this in my daughter. She's brave enough to speak her truth right now. And boy, I wish I'd had that then. I certainly am
18.
now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret anything in my life because it brought me to who I am today. But I like that. What's one thing, a trait
Yeah.
I wish I'd done a little better on?
Yeah. Earlier.
Yeah, just because once you really do speak your truth, nobody can take
liberating.
that away from you. And I think as long as we do it from a place of kindness, which I could have definitely done better, being kinder and more gentle about what that truth is.
Well, I
But
think
it's
when
a
first
learning
coming out,
process,
yeah, you're
too,
just
you
first
know?
coming out, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, when you feel brave,
I would just say ditto, really, but maybe something a little bit different is it's something about being like authentic in my body as well as my mind. But the body, how we struggle as women and the body things. I was even taunted a little bit in 8th grade for having a more developed body, and they told me and my family knows this story, so I can do it like beep, beep, beep.
no.
And I walked by and they said wide load. And like literally.
Kathleen, I would have kicked some butt for
I
you
know.
right then. I would have been like, who's
14
making
and-
fun of my friend?
So there, but just to know, like, your body is just thank God for it. Thank God these legs work, the arm, that it's a functioning, healthy body, and it's that I'm okay in it. That would have been something I feel that now, and it would have been nice a little bit earlier than 56, probably because I'm just accepting that now at 56. Today is my first day.
Oh, no. All right. So we're gonna wrap with that.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, we'll wrap this one up with that. That's a good one. So love yourself.
Love
Yes,
yourself.
that's
Until
a
next
real good
time.
one.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Yes,
one
thanks.
more time.
Peace
Here we
out.
go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thanks.